Hello and welcome back. This is the second video in our introductions to this challenge. This video is going to cover more technical aspects of it, as well as an overview of some of the resources that we're providing to hopefully give you a bit of a jump start on your development and work on this challenge. The first video was an introduction providing an overview of who we are, what this challenge is going to entail, what prizes are included, and just the general structure and aims of the challenge, as well as some background on why we're doing it. Let's get started. This first resource that we're providing is just an overall developer guidelines structure that might be useful to you to get some ideas and provide overall suggestions towards your development and work with these notebooks. So we have a suggested structure right here at the top. After that, we have a little bit of information on the different data sets, primarily the boundary data sets that we use throughout the Adaptation Atlas, and I'll cover that a little bit more in a moment. We do want everyone to use the standardized data for boundaries across all of the notebooks. That just helps for consistency, and that's what we use throughout the Adaptation Atlas. Along with this, we provide some useful imports and stylings that you can copy and paste into your own notebooks. So if I import this style sheet in, and then call the style sheet just by opening a new cell, saying JavaScript, and then typing in Atlas style sheet, that is going to apply this CSS to the entire notebook so that your links look green, the text is the same shape and size, and just follows our overall guidelines for styling across the Adaptation Atlas. We also provide a similar one for the table of contents. That is up here. So if you want your table of contents to look like that, you can just import this, copy and pasting it into the notebook that you're going to be developing, and it will immediately work and look like that at the top. We also provide some documentation on how to convert these notebooks to HTML, which will help you with your ongoing submissions throughout the process. And then we provide some additional resources in terms of links to more documentation, an example of how to use Python with Google Earth Engine to process the SoilGrids dataset, which is one of the suggested datasets for this challenge, the existing notebooks that we have built using this platform for the Adaptation Atlas, as well as some nice ideas to get some kind of pretty figures and visualizations going based on some of the work that other people have done using this same platform. So that's the end of this resource. Here in the additional resources, you can see there's the notebook starter template. That's where we're going to go next. For the sake of demonstration, I'll go back up here to the top because it's a lot easier to access through here. You can go to the Hackathon resources, and from there you'll be able to see the 3 different resources that we're providing. The one we'll go to next is the starter template. So this is designed to just be a base outline and frame of what we think you might need to get started. So it includes the table of contents and styling that I mentioned in the last notebook already loaded in for you, so you don't need to do anything there, as well as this section outline that you can use to build your own data story, changing the text, adding in figures and different visualizations, etc. We've also included the boundary dataset within here so that you can easily access that and use that without needing to download it in and do the boilerplate code for that. And that really covers everything we've developed in this notebook. So to use this wireframe, you can come up here to this little icon right here. If you hover over it, it's going to say fork this notebook. I can click on that. And since I'm logged in, this is my own personal workspace. I can click fork. And what that's going to do is create an exact copy of that old notebook, including all of the data for me to use within a challenge. So I can go through and I can make any changes I want. I can just delete this section, and that will save for me, and I can just build off this notebook within my own private workspace without worrying about any other interaction with other updates. If I was to example personally working on this challenge, if I was to make a change in this starter template and you have forked it, that doesn't automatically change your fork. So if you fork it, that it is stable from that point that you forked it, and you're the only person that can make changes to it. I can go over here to this little paperclip icon, which is where all of the attached files will be for a notebook. So if you want to include a data set in the notebook that we're not providing directly, what you can do is you can add it over here as a file attachment. That is limited to 50 megabytes per file, but I believe you can have as many 50 megabyte files, or I guess 49 megabyte files, as you wish within this. The caveat to that is it does significantly impact performance, as some of you can probably imagine. So definitely try to limit the file sizes being used to what's actually needed for the visualizations. You can also download these data sets by just clicking on them, and it will download that directly to my device. So if you wanted to use those externally for different analysis or similar, you could. The other piece that will be very useful to you within this starter template is the other data sets that are available as import. So any of the data sets that we're providing, you can import directly into these templates. So if you go to this page, which you can also find on this Hackathon resources page. So if I go back to this starter template, this isn't my forked version. This is the main starter template. I can go to the Hackathon resources, click over here to the Hackathon datasets. And once that loads, I can see over here at this paperclip, there are 13 different datasets currently loaded into this notebook. There may be a few more by the time we open up the Hackathon, but at the moment, that's what it is. And you can scroll through and see all of the data sets that we're making easily available for you to use and import within your notebooks and data story creation. These data sets are provided in a very simplified tabular format, and there's examples of all of those. We also are providing the data sets in their more raw form, be that raster geotiffs, and some other larger tables. Those are also available to you through our Amazon S3 bucket, and I've linked those data sets in this notebook as well. Those data sets from the S3 bucket are going to require some more analysis on your end to use. That is great if you want to do some extra analysis, and you can definitely gain some insights out of them that you wouldn't be able to use if you were to just use the notebooks that are downloaded already within this notebook. However, the caveat is that those data sets do require some more processing, and you will need to do some analysis to use them directly in your visualizations. So as I scroll down this notebook, let's say I'm working on a visualization that requires data related to population. I can scroll down this notebook, read through these different sections, and eventually I come down to one that says population. If I click on that little drop-down box, that opens up this new information box about the population data. I can see down here, these are the raw raster data sets that are available on our Amazon S3 bucket, or paste into a new tab. It will just download the data set for you, and you can do that for your own analysis on your own computer. The other option, if you just want to use, the data that's been simplified, it already matches the admin boundaries. We've already extracted it and done all the aggregation. You just want to use it for that visualization, and you don't need to do any more analysis. This code right here, you can just copy and paste into your notebook. So if I copy this imp code, and then go back to my fork of the starter template. So you can see I'm back here. It's within my workspace, and it's a fork of the starter template. If I scroll down here, I can import that data set in, and then you can see nothing really changes. There's no difference really at all. But then if I go back over here and I copy this code to actually query the population data and paste that into a cell and run it, if I wait a few seconds, it will pull in that table, and you can see I have all of the total population for all of the countries that we've extracted this data for. These columns, admin 0 name, admin 1 name, admin 2 name, similar, match the columns that are within this data set up here, these boundaries, so that you can easily match those two together for visualization if you need to. So that's the population data, and from there you can do a bunch of different SQL queries to run analysis and aggregate them in different ways. You can just pull the entire data set into the notebook using this, and then do some filtering and analysis using JavaScript. From this point, it's really up to what you prefer. From my personal experience, the SQL queries tend to be a bit faster and more efficient, but that's not always the case. So I'll leave that up to you to discover depending on your own needs. If I go back to these resources, I can keep scrolling through, and I can see information related to value of production, livestock, as well as a meta table that includes all of the value of production for crops and all of the value of production for livestock, plus some other indicators. So that one may be very useful to you. I've got information on different hazards, as well as some summary tables and definitions to help you get a grip on some of the more technical language that we have used and have identified the different variable names and what they mean. And you can go through here and open and collapse them as you need to. All of these include examples on how you can import them into the notebooks that you're developing, as well as an example format of what that table actually looks like when you open it. So hopefully all of this is going to be very useful to you. And yeah, as you scroll down, you can see the different data sets that we have available for the challenge. So that's just a very flash overview of these tools that we're providing you and of these data sets that we're providing you and how you can use them to get started a little bit easier. We as a team will be around throughout the challenge to assist with any questions and